Ruby had a simple idea. Once upon a time, in a quaint little village nestled between rolling hills and sparkling streams, lived a cheerful girl named Ruby. Ruby had a special love for flowers. Her garden was a vibrant tapestry of colors, with roses, daisies, tulips, and sunflowers swaying gently in the breeze. Ruby's mother, Mrs. Bloom, owned the village flower shop, where the air was always filled with the sweet scent of blossoms. Every day, Ruby would wake up early, put on her tiny gardening boots, and tend to her precious blooms. She whispered secrets to them, and they seemed to listen, swaying gently in response. One day, Ruby had an idea. She carefully picked some of her garden's prettiest flowers and arranged them into little bouquets. With her mum's help, she set up a tiny stall outside the shop. The sign read, "Ruby's Blooms, Made with Love." She gave the bouquets away to passers-by who looked like they needed cheering up, like Mr. Orange, who looked unusually tired and grumpy today. "Greetings, Mr. Orange," Ruby said with a big smile. "These are for you." She pushed the flowers into his hands. Immediately, Mr. Orange began to smile. Mr. Orange thanked Ruby by letting her pick some of his delicious, juicy oranges. In this village, everyone had a unique gift. Mr. Orange, a kind man with a twinkle in his eye, tended to a lush orange grove. His oranges were the juiciest and sweetest anyone had ever tasted. "Take as many as you'd like," Mr. Orange said, his voice warm. "Your flowers brightened my day, and now it's my turn to share my garden with you." Ruby danced among the orange trees, her little arms reaching for the ripest fruits. She filled her basket, and the oranges peeked out like miniature suns. "Thank you, Mr. Orange," she exclaimed. "These will make the most wonderful orange-scented bouquets." Mr. Orange told Ruby that he had far too many oranges, and he didn't know what to do with them at all. He had oranges in the cupboard, oranges in the fridge, oranges in the shed, oranges in boxes and bags, and after a long day's work, Mr. Orange was looking forward to a warm, relaxing bath, but he forgot he'd filled the tub full of oranges. Oh dear. And then there was Mrs. Tomato, a warm-hearted lady who grew the plumpest, reddest tomatoes in her garden. Mrs. Tomato made tomato salad, tomato soup, tomato ketchup, tomato sauce, and tomato juice. But her tomatoes kept on growing. In fact, tomato vines started to grow over the top of the house, and the red fruit hung like decorations from her rooftop. As much as she loved her endless supply of fruit, Mrs. Tomato really wished she could have some flowers instead. What a conundrum. Ruby applied her mind to the serious matter of one, having way too much of a thing, and two, not having enough of a thing. And after much contemplation, Ruby had a simple idea. We can save all the amazing fruit and vegetables from going to waste if everyone trades what they have grown, built, or created for something they need. That way, everyone would have enough of everything. Ruby beamed at her marvelous idea, and to make the villagers even happier, Ruby suggested they create a community garden where everyone could contribute and share the bounty with joy and gratitude. Happily, all of the villagers agreed, and it worked out perfectly. And so, in that little village, love blossomed alongside the flowers, oranges, and tomatoes. Ruby's garden flourished, and her heart bloomed even brighter. She knew that her flowers and brilliant ideas brought joy to others, and that made her the happiest little girl in the world. The village was special because everyone shared what they had. There was no need for money. Instead, they exchanged their goods with love and generosity. Every morning, Ruby would pick fresh flowers from her garden and place them in the community garden. Mr. Orange would bring baskets of his delicious oranges, and Mrs. Tomato would add her ripe tomatoes. The villagers would gather, laugh, and share stories as they exchanged their goods. One day, a traveler passing through the village was amazed by the harmony and abundance he saw. He asked Ruby, "How did this village become so happy and prosperous?" Ruby smiled and replied, "We share what we have with each other. When we give with love, we all receive more than we could ever imagine." The traveller was deeply moved and spread the story of the village far and wide. People from other villages came to see this magical place where everyone lived in abundance and happiness. They learned from Ruby and her village, and soon many other villages adopted the same spirit of sharing and community. And so, Ruby's village continued to thrive, filled with laughter, love, and the beautiful colors of her flower garden. Every night, as the stars twinkled above, the villagers would gather around a warm fire, sharing stories and dreams, grateful for the joy that came from living in harmony. And Ruby, with her heart full of love for flowers and her village, would drift off to sleep, knowing that her simple idea had made the world a better place. And that, my dear friends, is the story of Ruby, the girl who turned petals into smiles and sharing into a lucrative commodity. The end.